and we're not going to let the country decline. We're in a failing country. We're in a country that's being laughed at all over the world by other leaders. They laugh at our leaders. We're not going to let that happen anymore. That didn't happen 4 years ago. So while we're running a campaign of solutions to save America, and America which they have virtually destroyed during their almost 4-year period of rule, Kamala Harris, a very low IQ individual, is running a campaign of hate, anger, and retribution. She spends all of her time complaining about everything, but does nothing about it. She talks about the border, but why didn't she do it 3.5 years ago? She talks about all these things. We're going to help the environment. Why didn't she do it? We had the best environment. By the way, we had the cleanest water and the cleanest air at any time in recorded history. She talks about what she's going to do about inflation, which has destroyed our senior citizens and our middle class, what they've done. You know, I had no inflation, and we had the best economy in history. That's a nice combination. But she did nothing about it, or what she's going to get. She's going to talk about how she's going to get the economy going. Oh, I watched her last night. I'm going to get... She didn't say anything. She said, I'm going to get the economy, but she didn't say how. I said how. I said, we're going to bring companies in. We're going to protect those companies. They're going to take advantage of all of the things that we're doing. They're going to hire people at numbers that you wouldn't even believe. We're going to have hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of companies coming in to our country. And I will use a thing called the most beautiful word to me ever. Not quite, well, let me say this. How about third? Let's put religion number 1 and love number 2. And then we'll put the word tariff number 3. Tariff. They're going to have to pay us to come in and use our wealth and take our jobs and do what they've done. But nobody ever did that except me. China paid us hundreds of billions of dollars. They weren't happy, but I still got along with them very well. And then COVID came, and I wasn't happy. That was a bridge too far. But we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China and others. And we were just getting started. But remember this, Kamala and Crooked Joe head up the worst administration in the history of our country by far. He's the worst president in the history of the USA, and she is by far the worst vice president in the history of the USA. Remember, 5 months ago, they said you couldn't even think about using her. She's grossly incompetent, right? Then all of a sudden they wanted to get politically correct, and they chose her above 12 other people that frankly were much more capable. But what they did to Biden, and I'm no fan of his, but you know what the rumor is? He likes me more than her. Can you believe that? He likes me. He likes me more. But their administration makes Jimmy Carter's administration look absolutely brilliant. And in all fairness to Jimmy, he didn't let 21 million people pour into our country with thousands and thousands of criminals and murderers and drug dealers, people from mental institutions. They're emptying out, think of this, they're emptying out mental institutions from all over the world, from the Congo in Africa. They're all over the world, from Asia, from the Middle East, from South America. They're emptying their jails. Think of that. They're emptying their jails. They're emptying their mental institutions and insane asylums into the United States of America. And these two stupid people allow it to happen. 13,000 plus murderers. Many of them committed more than one murder. And they're walking around in our country free and clear to kill again. And they will. They'll kill many times. And last night, Kamala made a speech with a lot of paid audience. They had a lot of paid audience. They came in buses, the same buses, all those same buses. You know what that means? They bust people in. We didn't bust any people in here. We could have sold this place out 4 times. No, they come in, they bus them from someplace, they pay them or something. They bus them in. Every bus, beautiful bus company, I will say, they did a nice job. Bus after bus. And then they leave. They leave before she finishes. But listen, the worst was 4 nights ago. They got Beyonce. Beyonce. They got Beyonce. They said, ladies and gentlemen, they said Beyonce is coming to sing, and she came, but she didn't sing. And then Kamala came on as Beyonce was leaving without singing even one song, and they booed the hell out of both of them. But we don't need Beyonce. We don't need anybody. All you got is me, and I don't have a guitar. I do not have a guitar. But if you look outside, you could have sold this big arena out 4 times. And at Madison Square Garden the other night, you could have sold that great, incredible, look, Madison Square Garden, MSG, the greatest, I think the greatest, right? It's got to be. It's Mecca for the great championships. In the history of Madison Square Garden, they told me, Jim Dolan, everybody, they're fantastic, the job they did for us Sunday night. They said, you could have sold this thing 10 times. We've never seen. In all of those years, they had crowds of people, and I don't mean lines, I mean massive groups of people, all the way back down to the Hudson River. We could have sold it out 10 times. And that's just based on what we're saying.